Hello and welcome to the Screen Time Continuum. It is a wonderful Sunday out here. I am here with the fellas as normal. And how you doing, Nick? How you doing, Mike? What's going on, fella?
I am feeling normal, thank you.
I hope so.
All right.
I'm doing all right. How you doing over there, Keelan?
I can't complain. I am. Yeah, I don't know. I guess I'm normal as well, but seemingly not so much so.
Oh,
I didn't want to
okay.
have the same answer, and
So,
I came back with the same answer.
I am
normal
also
but different.
I am also exactly. Look, trying to be unique and think outside the box, and it's like, nope, just be regular and say the regular things. No, I'm doing very well. It's a great Sunday. I can't complain.
Good.
And we're here, guys, and the movie we're reviewing today is the 2021 movie Free Guy, which is currently available on, I think, like every streaming platform except Netflix, right? Hulu, HBO, Disney, Apple, YouTube, Amazon. Like, you could find it everywhere, but I think you can only find it with your base subscription on HBO Max and Disney, correct?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, but just to find out that it was on so many different platforms, usually if it's on every platform, you won't find it like free on any platform. So I thought that was interesting to note. But yes, Free Guy is a movie about, I guess, a bank teller who finds out he's in a video game and vicariously has to save his own world and meets the developers that are in charge of creating him, essentially. But the whirlwind that gets us from beginning to end is pretty interesting, to say the least. And that's my synopsis. That's not how they write it out online. The way they write it out online, in my opinion, is a misdirect. So from there, fellas, how'd you feel? First impressions. Oh wait, or should I go down a list of cast? I didn't even do any of that today.
Yeah, go for it.
Look at that. Look, you know what? Guess I'll give them some credit for doing their jobs too. Yeah,
Yeah, that's probably fair.
Let's just talk about the movie. Skip over all that.
Skip over it. So yeah, Free Guy is a PG-13 comedy action movie that runs 155 minutes. It came out in 2021. It is starring Ryan Reynolds, Jodie Corner, Lil Rel Howery. Did you enjoy that, Nick? Dwayne Johnson, which I'm still confused on where The Rock is in this movie, but he's definitely on the bill.
Wait, what?
Yes.
Oh, was he the body for dude? No,
That could just be CGI.
It's funny, but that actually,
I don't think it is, because it doesn't look like his delts.
I'm
just what you look at in your free time.
I am gonna move on. Taika Waititi, which, I mean, at this point on this channel, he's just a main staple. If he's in it, we're probably gonna cover it at some point, or if he's a part of it. Aaron W. Reed actually played the dude character. Pokimane, and Hugh Jackman also somehow was in his movie. Erkosh Ambukar, which again, I think he's been in at least 4 or 5 movies we've covered, and Channing Tatum.
Hey, don't forget about Chris Evans.
Chris Evans did a cameo, but listen, I have come to the conclusion, and this is why when I thought about it, I actually had in my notes when I looked down, like, oh, cast. There's a reason I wanted to go through cast, so I could mention Channing Tatum. It's in every movie he does. It has to be in his contracts. We used to think his contracts were, Channing Tatum has to go shirtless. I don't think that's it. I think he just in some way has to dance or go shirtless, or it has to be a combination of one of those things, or something that way. That's all I'm saying. I think he just has to show, hey, I have range. No matter what character he's having, no matter what character he's playing, he has to show range just one scene. And that's what that was about. So I'm just going to leave it at that. I don't think there's anything else as far as the cast. Again, it came out in 2021. Disclaimer or is that the word for it? Disclaimer? I am not.
Spoiler alert.
We don't need spoilers. This is,
I think it's old enough to not have to do a spoiler alert. Yeah.
Yeah.
Feels new, but not
if it's within 2, like if any later than 2 months, you don't need a spoiler alert.
You know what? I did not know there was a.
I didn't make that. I didn't make a rule. I'm just saying. I
don't think you did. Right. That sounded pretty solid. That sounded pretty solid. That's like when I found out getting canceled only lasts 3 days. It was like, wait, no, that sounds like good math. Somebody did their homework.
A lot can happen in those 3 days, but yes,
72 hours is a long time.
Yeah. You seen that show 24?
That's right.
One day.
There's 3 of those. Right. So yeah,
apparently the Rock was one of the bank robbers.
Oh.
Okay. That's pretty cool, I guess.
I don't know which one.
That makes sense that a couple of the, like even Hugh Jackman, maybe they were playing characters that were masked and we just didn't realize it was them. That's actually a pretty cool inclusion.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So yeah, first impressions, fellas. How'd you feel?
You want to go, Mike, or do you want me to?
I'll let you go first.
All right. Let's see. I mean, this movie's pretty entertaining. I thought it was fun and lighthearted. I was most impressed probably by the work it probably took for all the visual effects, and to make that sort of blend pretty seamlessly, I thought was like impressive. The movie is nice to look at. It's very flashy and colorful. I definitely laughed in some areas. There's some cringy moments for me, but then again, it's probably geared more towards teenagers and kids. So I don't have a whole lot to complain about, but then again, it's like I didn't expect to be floored, and I wasn't floored, but I enjoyed myself. So
very cool. I almost floored my mic just now, for the record.
Oh, all right.
Yeah.
But no, I agree. I too, let me adjust that because I'm sure that I don't sound as. Hey, I'm back. I too agree. I think this movie is made for the generation that is watching people play video games, and I'll leave it at that. We'll probably dive a little deeper on that as we move forward. But Mike, what'd you think, or how'd you feel?
I thought it was okay. It is pretty. The effects are nice, but it ends up relying too much on like nostalgia bait, I guess to call it, for gamers, because there's a bunch of gamer references that happen, but it gets a little ad nauseum. Like I stopped paying attention to it somewhere along the way through. It also felt a little long for me, but it didn't. I found the story that happens outside of the game world a little bit more interesting than this AI that's slowly coming into consciousness. And then once the AI consciousness thing happens, you're like, oh, this might be going somewhere. It just leaves it dead. It just presents it and then just does nothing with it. But it's like a movie you could turn your brain off to and just kind of have it on. But for me, it was just kind of meh. It fell a little flat. So even some of the action sequences were just okay. And I don't know if that means a problem of our time, where everything is so spectacularly and everything's exploding. There's so many, all the visuals are always great and all of that it just kind of becomes bland. But it's just sort of meh.
No, definitely. I can totally understand that. Something I thought about in reference to your meh point, because I get what that point is. And I was thinking that there's an entire audience of people who are very aware of the video game world and coding and all of those kind of things. And if they got one part wrong, because that was kind of a glossed over part of the movie, but at the exact same time, it was such a important part of these two characters. And we saw from the moment that one little small interview on the TV, we kind of knew how that was going to play out. But I could understand how that could kind of that's, so you're just not going to play with that area. What I assumed actually was going to happen.
That's what she said.
I heard it too. I just no, you're right. What I assumed was gonna happen with that, Mike, was that it was kind of gonna get drug out, and we were just gonna get drug into a Free Guy too.
Yeah.
For just the artificial intelligence, real life, hibbity, whatever that you want to call that.
Yeah, it is sort of nice that doesn't get drug out too much.
In that way.
Yeah, you feel like this movie is just going to be a one and done sort of thing, which is refreshing because everything's looking to make a cinematic universe nowadays, and I don't think we need a Free Guy universe.
Right. Certainly not. No.
And I like how this movie even touched on that a little bit. It covered that in reference to the way games do it.
Yeah, the sequels and all of that. Why make a new products when you could have sequels?
Yeah, when you have Kentucky Fried Chicken.
That was a terrible analogy for
was it Albuquerque boiled turkey?
Yeah,
Albuquerque boiled turkey. Man, that was funny.
Yeah,
that was hilarious, but it was still a bad equate, or
like so, that. Yeah. No, go for it.
Sorry,
what were your first impressions?
Oh, my first impressions were pretty much the same, except I think I might liked it a little more than you, Mike. But I saw the same things that both of you saw, and the level of excitement and action was more so suggested than present. It's weird that it felt like watching somebody play a video game, which is kind of what we were doing, right? But it didn't. It's like, okay, I'm watching a movie, and then I'm in a video game, and then we're back to a regular movie, and then it's a movie game. Like this would have been interesting. Say if, and I'm only gonna say this because I know they have the technology because they have other movies that do it. Netflix. If this was on Netflix, it could have had the interactive features to it. That would be an entire different experience for a movie like this. To make it kind of more gamey, give it a little more of that. It's weird because I kind of expected
you just have Free Guy the video game.
I'm sure that's coming. If I'm being totally honest, I think that's coming.
I would play that.
I would.
Isn't that just GTA?
Kind of.
Well, see, that's what I thought too.
A little bit more cartoony, though, I would think.
But that's kind of what I'm getting at is this felt more like me watching a video game than watching a movie. Like if you take all of the gameplay, like where I have to hold the controller and just give me all of the storyline cinema shots, 2 hours of that, you get Free Guy. Essentially. So I mean that's how it plays out in my head. Just it doesn't feel like I'm watching a movie. It feels like I'm watching a video game, and that's not a bad thing. I enjoyed it because of that. It didn't feel too serious. It didn't give me too much to have to overthink. When you saw anything that was even slightly remotely gonna be like, a love interest or animosity type of moment, like it was coming, and it wasn't something you had to. Oh well, why did this happen? And how do I carry two to fit? It didn't do that for you. So I enjoyed this movie, like you said, Mike, for the reasons that I could really just sit back, enjoy it, turn my brain off, and not have to. I don't have to dissect it like it's Shakespeare. It's not like it's not watching the tragedy of Macbeth.
Yeah. The funny thing is, like right before I watched this movie, I watched Mulholland Drive by David Lynch, and I had to spend like a good 25 minutes after the movie was done thinking about the movie. And I'm like, what? Because like it's like a normal movie and it goes full Lynch mode, and you're just like, oh great, yeah, that's right. Like I forgot who was directing this up until this point, and so then watching this, it was just able to just switch it off and be like, oh, explosions. Or look, there's Deadpool playing Ryan Reynolds. Yeah.
I like how you did that.
Yeah, this movie's like the Lego Movie and the Truman Show.
Yeah.
Like it's like a cross between those two movies. I found like a lot of the youngin references and YouTuber references really cringy. Seeing Jacksepticeye and Ninja in a movie, it's like, come on, you didn't have to do that. You could have casted somebody to be a streamer, and that would have been fine.
It's so funny. Not to cut you off, Mike, but in the middle of the movie, I had to know. I was like, are these real YouTubers? Because they keep showing them over and over. And it was one thing, like after the second time, like, and then to find the same thing out, I was like, couldn't just do actors, huh? All right.
No, because you got to lure the kids in. I mean, I get it.
That's a negative for me, but yeah.
We were the kids. Well,
But
they
it's
did-
also, it's not really a negative. I guess it's kind of hard to explain how I feel about that. I think they pulled a little hard, but I appreciate them at least giving them reference. I don't know the right word there.
I just don't think they set it up right. Because if you're gonna set up this whole like what was the game world called? Free City, I think.
Mhm.
If you're gonna set this all up like it's like the biggest, it's like the biggest game on Twitch, or the biggest streaming thing, then that has to happen before we're introduced to like the Ryan Reynolds character. Before we're introduced to Guy, and they don't do that. All of a sudden, you just get this narration with Guy, and then they just start to pop up. Yeah,
Is that maybe that's the issue I'm having? Is I don't know who I'm watching. Why they're just popping in.
Yeah, you have to be like, oh, I know that YouTuber because I watch them on YouTube. Like that's really the only reason they're in this movie.
Yeah, it was confusing for me.
And then it dates the movie to hell because if like in like 10 years, if streaming still isn't a thing, or if they fall out of popularity, no one's gonna know who they're looking at.
Yeah, who are these dyed-haired weirdos with microphones?
They're gonna think they're like
in these dark rooms.
people.
Oh God. Wow. Yeah, I just thought about what that looks like in 10, 15 years.
Yeah, it may not be the best look. Even like some of the jokes are for
That's pretty funny.
For this time, and it's like, well, 20 years from now, that's not going to be you may not even hit the mark. I mean, people are looking at it like, oh, this is one of those really old movies, huh?
It's gonna be like a tweet from 2002.
Yeah. Yeah. Nick is going to the movies with @Keelan.
Hey man, it was a crazy year. So yeah, this movie is pretty easy as far as top to bottom, but yeah, as far as nostalgia and the way it all came up, let's go through some of it. We don't necessarily have to go beat by beat, I don't think, but yeah. So Guy is a part of a video game. He doesn't quite know it yet, and he is an NPC, non-playable character. And a non-playable character is literally just the guys that are your tellers in your games and your taxi drivers. Well, unless you're playing taxi. But you get me. The non-playable characters, you can't get them. They don't do anything except walk around and do nothing. They walk into walls or they freeze if the game is glitching, and you just going about your business.
You shoot them, and then you can go.
Yeah, and if you're playing certain games, you could definitely shoot them and get points and stuff like that. Take their money.
Some of them are overpowered in fighting games. Those secret last bosses that you can't pick in multiplayer.
This is true. The DLC that costs $40 and $100.
You get the gimped version of them.
Yeah, it's definitely never the same as the guy you're getting throttled by. Pause. Oh gosh. So he's an NPC. Nobody's supposed to be able to play him or be him or use that skin. And somehow at the beginning we find that he's just running around. He's a normal guy until he sees this girl. And this girl, she's a user controlled person or character, and she's in pursuit of something secret because it's going to help her in the real world. And that's really how we're introduced to Guy and to Molotov Girl, aka Millie. But again, this is all a video game, so yeah. Once
this movie is just propaganda for meta.
I kind of thought that
you can live,
but I wasn't sure on which end.
Yeah, and it's kind of a low-key at the end, like a communist utopia, where like there are no banks. He even says it specifically. There are no banks. You can do whatever you want. You'll own nothing and you'll be happy. Where we heard that one before.
They're priming us, and it's funny because there are like this movie falls victim to the thing where they have all these different movies work together. Like you were talking about the Lego Movie and Truman Show, where it reminds you of other movies, of better movies, and you're like, why the hell am I not just watching those? Like with the sunglasses, it's They Live, right?
Yeah, for sure.
And
I think with the boosting of his attributes and all that came from Westworld, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's all of these. It's the Matrix. It's Westworld. It's all of that
Definitely
stuff.
the
Yeah.
Matrix.
And the Matrix. Like I could be watching Matrix right now. What am I watching this?
And I think in 15 years this might be better than Matrix.
Well, not the original. The original has
not the
stood the
original,
test.
not the original.
Are you
by
talking
far.
about
But I mean,
resurrections?
We're talking about right now, like this era in time. If they were to see the Matrix that we have today in this movie, this is better than the Matrix. In 15 years, they look back, they don't really know the context on either. I think this is better.
I don't think so.
Well, no, I mean, like, I think you might be right if we follow the idiocracy trajectory.
I mean,
no, I mean, you might be right about that.
Look,
you might be looking at this as the next Citizen Kane.
Yeah, I'm like, look, Idiocracy came out 10 years ago, and so far they've been right.
Well, if that happens, you can just point me to the tallest cliff, throw myself off of it.
The problem is it'll be in the metaverse, and as soon as you land, there will be a whole bunch of pillows at the bottom.
No, there won't be pillows on his.
You
way
won't
down.
even be able to commit suicide.
He'll land on top of a bunch of bodies. That's what's going to keep him alive.
Yeah.
What bodies? Oh, these aren't NPCs. These are just shells that were left down there so you don't die.
Jesus.
There's jagged rocks under those.
I meta.
So yeah, man. Yeah, Free Guy basically he breaks free, and that's really where the movie starts. So,
and then it becomes kind of like a romantic comedy, which I didn't dig that much.
And that's what I was saying a minute ago. That's where I was like, didn't expect that. Not saying it was terrible, but I didn't expect that. I really thought this was gonna be like Pixel almost, or one of those kind of just video game, and it wasn't, but it was. Like almost felt like it was an episode of Fortnite.
There's definitely some Hallmark movie love story thing going on in this movie too. I think it's a little bit cheesy, but it's fine, I guess. It's kind of saccharine a little bit, where you just I understand you want to have like a love triangle thing between Millie and a fake dude and a real dude.
A real dude. That was great. That created the fake dude.
Yeah.
There's Pygmalion stuff going on there. Because she wrote most of that AI code. Right. And he was like the designer, I guess, and wrote some other code or something.
Yeah, I think he had improvised on it or something. Made it better.
She fell in love with her own creation, who then turns out to be the guy she was working with. So there's some weird stuff going on with those ideas.
Some very strange transhumanist Pygmalion going on.
I had to make her after the one girl that he.
Maybe the second year is like a breakup movie where she keeps calling him guy. They have to navigate those relationships.
He's like, I'm not your guy, buddy.
I'm not your buddy, guy. Man, why? So, what I don't understand was the scene where Antoine comes and you have the back and forth. He's going off. He's this big douchey dude. Then he pulls Keys aside, and I'll go through this and actually go back to another moment with Keys. But he pulls Keys aside and he offers him the programming job, almost like one of those bro, what are you doing? You're one of us kind of moments. And Keys declining, kind of like, no, I'm not one of you.
Which is dumb because he took the job. He took the job to have the money. Why wouldn't you take the better job?
Exactly.
To have more money?
That's what I didn't understand. It's like it just don't work for him.
To be fair, though, there could be some contractual complications. So, like the programming world, they could have a contract that states no matter what you make inside or outside of work belongs to the company.
That's true.
So if he's just fixing bugs and doing small stuff like that,
they don't own his shit.
They don't own his stuff. And depending on the state that he's in, as long as he's coding something that's outside of the job description, then he's fine too. So there could be little things like that.
Right. And at that point, they would own all of his past work as well.
Luckily, contracts aren't that abusive.
Oh, okay. Well, in music, they are sometimes.
Yeah.
But so yeah, Keys throws me off. How did he not catch it from the very beginning if you created this code? Like you just tucked it so far to the recesses of who you are, and
I
you
think he thought
just
it was dead. He
yeah.
just didn't think that it was, alive or even in the game, probably.
Mhm.
That's where this movie starts. Like I just missed it a lot, but if we're gonna talk about it, it's where it falls apart. It's very easy to look through a code base. Like maybe he didn't have permission to look at stuff that he
Mhm.
wrote. Like it's really hard to it can be hard to orchestrate to make sure that he can't see anything. But you would start to know by the behavior too. You've like worked with if you know the behavior of your code and you worked with it long enough, you can start to see it when it's in the wild. You're like, I'm pretty sure that was something I did.
Yeah, I guess if you want to explain it away, it's because he didn't think the code existed in the game, and then he thought Guy was an actual person,
Mhm.
and then he only found out about the code once he pulled Guy's NPC program. But
Right.
I don't know, man. Like that's me doing a lot of stretching for
Yeah.
for the story.
It feels like
Right.
it's like the writers had the writer knew a guy that worked in video games.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
for like
Just
10
put it in
minutes,
brackets.
yeah, and it's just like, hey, does this work? Uh-huh. All right. Yep.
Got
Yep.
it.
No, I just
Sure.
need a yes or no. Okay. What do you mean it doesn't work? I'm still putting it in. All right.
Yeah, doesn't
All right,
matter.
bye. Yeah. No one's gonna know.
No one's gonna. How are they gonna know?
Mm.
Another conclusion or something I came to. Buddy is uh Keys in the game. Like this, and like you said, Mike, Guy is Millie. Like it's not like oh Millie Guy is made as some guy for Millie. Like no, Guy is Millie.
Oh yeah. Where he was like building him to like the same things that she liked.
Hmm.
I can
Yeah.
see that.
And
I
it's
thought
like,
Buddy had just all the Kevin Hart lines. I felt like they tried to get Kevin Hart in this, and his schedule was busy for the next 20 years or
That's
something.
exactly what
Nick
that was.
Nick has a theory about Lil Rel movies. What's your theory about Lil Rel movies, Nick?
I don't know.
You forget?
Yeah,
You
I
forgot
do.
you said it? I remember when you said it because it was the
Okay.
funniest thing I had heard in a long
Okay,
time. I was
okay.
like, that's a hell of a theory, but you're not wrong. So I can't remember what we were watching, and Lil Rel came up. I think we were talking about Get Out.
Hmm.
Yeah, I think actually we were talking about Get Out.
Hmm.
And you're saying that's probably the only thing you've seen him in that you didn't like. Is that Kevin Hart role and they just gave it to him?
Oh, right.
And you were like, you don't like any movie he's in because you feel like they're all Kevin Hart movies. He ended up with the role because Kevin Hart.
I'm like, but it's true, right? You like, yeah.
It's probably true. Like it's
Yeah.
that's the thing about Hollywood. Like
I feel bad.
or not
for
even
him,
Hollywood.
though.
Excuse me. That's the thing. Yeah, that's the thing about casting for anyone. I'm sure.
Yeah.
And you kind of would feel bad for that person because it's like you would want them to feel like some of those roles were written for them.
Yeah. Or you wouldn't have to feel like you're being pigeonholed into acting a specific way.
I have to be this person. Like while they're changing their entire resume, I'm doing something they was doing 10 years ago. But
yeah, I kind of felt like Buddy's character was a bit cringe sometimes too.
Oh, extremely.
It's a little bit over the top.
It's so weird that his voice changed after they were sitting in his apartment and he was really talking to him. Before that, it was really high pitched, and then the thought had come up, and it was like, the programming. Like awkwardly enough, that's him acting up the programming. Like the programming is so strong. It's like, no, I'm just a perky. Until like there's this real honest moment, and that's his breaking moment of starting to branch out and become code.
And then they kind of also in this movie they kind of mentioned something that would have been the first red flag, I think, for those quote unquote programmers, was that the NPCs are living lives outside of the loop, or not outside of the loop, but like having their own private time and doing their own private things with each other, when the game isn't on. I don't know how it works, but when they're not out in the city, they're out doing their own thing and like actually speaking. Because why would Guy's loop be going to see Buddy?
No clue at all.
Yeah.
He has to pick him up for work.
He has to pick him up but it was after work.
Oh.
Yeah. Anyways.
Hey, man.
It's not supposed to make sense. I get it.
It's supposed to make a little bit. We got come on.
No, I mean, like, look, I again, you know, I could tell from this movie that it wasn't going to be something that I could like scrutinize too much, or else I would just say, "What the fuck am I watching?" So
definitely, and I think this was supposed to be a thoughtless movie when they made it. Like,
it
yes,
feels
there's
like
a lot of think pieces, and it's weird to say it that way, but there are a few moments where you're like, "Are you trying to be political on me?" Like, I just wanted to laugh.
Yeah, many times.
But overall, even within and through that, it was really just a why would you do that kind of a movie.
No, and like they did the political thing the same thing they approach like the technical things. It's just either like
just slap it in there.
Yeah, just throw it in there and then just keep going forward.
Yeah, have somebody mention white privilege in passing like it's not an insult. And, you know, and we'll just keep going.
Yeah.
I didn't understand why that. Never mind.
It's just because, like what Mike said, they're just slapping in a political buzz thing, and you know.
Yeah, but you're right. I could name a few I just thought of, like literally when I was about to be like, but you didn't have to throw that one in. But it's like, but what about this one and this one? Okay, good point.
Yeah, it's the same attention that they put to the actual programming ideas and all of that stuff. So
it wasn't much. If somebody thought of it, it was clever in the moment, and so
it's pithy. It's cool. You know, makes all of the teen kids, you know, happy. I don't know.
Yeah. Also, I find it hard to believe that Keys was a genius.
Some MIT, yeah, like they didn't really know what to do with this character. Like he's like working with tickets, but he's like kind of scripting the game world and like being
in real time
an admin mod. Yeah, they said the word patch once and then everything else is real time. It's like, have you ever played a video game online ever? Just like one time. Nope. Did you do any research?
Nope.
You kidding me? They had jobs and lives, and
the studio's like, no, man, we got Ryan Reynolds. We got Ryan Reynolds for 4 more movies. Right. We just got to make something.
and apparently he's a gamer, and that's all they needed.
Yeah. Okay. Well, he should have said something.
Something. Should have listened to him.
I'm talking about. Wasn't he one of the executive producers on this thing?
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
Pretty sure.
I do say I do like the concept of the augmented reality, and I think we will be seeing that pretty soon. Being able to put some glasses on and seeing like augmented, you know, overlays on the actual environment. I think that'll be happening a lot sooner than we realize. Actually, I think they're already doing that. They had like the Snapchat glasses, right? And Facebook.
I think it's in.
Facebook has the Ray-Bans too.
I'm carrying an EMP backpack everywhere I go.
Yeah, exactly.
Just shut them down.
Sure. Or we need to start making suits out of our the RFID blocking material, whatever that is.
What is that material made of? That's a good question. You know what? Next time on If Never, I'm joking. So the task that Molotov girl, aka Millie, also the Australian accent was hilarious to me. But
I think she was supposed to be British, but yeah, either way.
Yeah, that's still the funny joke.
I can see an Australian. I know an Australian accent when I see one. All right.
There you
go. Oh man.
And then was it the YTD's character Antoine reminded me of the guy from Grandma's Boy, the guy that runs the game dev studio. Grandma's Boy.
I forgot about that. Wow.
But then it just made me want to watch Grandma's Boy because it's a better one. Yes.
Wow, I forgot about that movie. Mr. Cheadle.
It's great. I had a dream. I was swimming with these dolphins. exploded out of the water and became an eagle. Which
See, you remember. I remember the hand gestures. You remember the actual words. I just remember him acting it out.
it's one of my favorite movies. This is so funny.
But the task that Molotov Girls or Millie gives to Guy, that's the real, I guess the real turning point, like the real quest.
The MacGuffin.
The MacGuffin. I'm not sure. Is that what that's called? That's wow.
Yeah. It's the thing that the characters seek. It's called the MacGuffin in storytelling.
Oh wow!
To keep the story moving.
See, I really learn something new every day. I promise, guys. So, the MacGuffin is when he is given the task to become a 100-level player at least. I think it's clever to add in the change, like so he doesn't think to do it exactly how it's explained to him. It's like I don't want to hurt people. I don't want to. I don't want to do any of that. And I like how that turned into, in my opinion, it's that little thing in him that turned into everybody else. Like, hey, you know, maybe we don't have to kill them if he's not so eager to kill us and everybody else. Like, you see, he's just.
I was also a little bit, I was also a little bit like not suspicious, but very like, I don't know what you're trying to do.
Oh, there's an agenda for sure.
Yeah. Like this concept that like, you know, we need to now acknowledge the NPC genocide. Like, I don't know. I don't know if they're like trying to sort of like make a statement about how we treat NPCs or like that felt a little bit like, what are we doing here? Are we doing like social justice for NPCs right now? Like,
I think there's a little, well, because you know, the internet culture, there's a notion of an NPC, right?
Yeah.
The normie. Yeah. So it's like,
so leave the normies alone. Let them be.
Yeah. Don't try to bring them into waking life or anything like that. Just leave them alone.
Yeah. Just leave them alone. In fact, their lives are actually better than your savage killing life. And where you're shooting all of the people. If you were just a communist, magnanimous NPC,
wow,
you'd live a much better life.
Things would be much better. And
there'd be brontosauruses on the street, man. Come on, don't you want dinosaurs?
Yeah, that was my name. That's great.
What button do you guys think he found for the kiss? Because he found the button, and then she found the button.
No, that was a clitoris joke.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was a clitoris joke too, but
yeah.
But do you know what the button was?
I don't think.
That's what I expected the answer to be. It was like, no, that was the joke. I'm not Ryan Reynolds. I'm funny. You got to finish the punchline.
Oh damn! Poor Ryan Reynolds. He's gotten pigeonholed too.
Yeah,
he's gonna have to do some serious dramatic acting soon because.
He's kind of stuck being Dane Cook's little cousin.
Yeah, he's Van Wilder. He's been Van Wilder for decades.
Van Wilder forever.
Yeah.
I forgot about that movie, which was great. It was a
funny movie. Yeah,
but he's definitely stuck in that role.
Mm-hmm.
Deadpool definitely was
same thing.
I mean, I'm pretty sure he is Deadpool. That's like he is like one of the perfect.
I think the personality of Deadpool that we got in the movie, I think, is his genuine personality, like his angle of humor, and that's why it translated so well.
Mm-hmm.
But so he found the kiss, he was able to kiss her, and I don't know. I'm not sure I like how Millie took him being fake or being an AI. Like she was really reeling off of that. Like, wait, what? I was into it. I was there. It's like, yeah, that means you're good at your job that you were told you're not good at.
Yeah, he just passed the Turing test.
Right.
Come on.
On the creator.
Yeah, on the damn creator, right? Like,
right.
What more could you ask for?
So it's like, no, you just broke the mold, lady, but you didn't see it that way because you, again, kind of, I guess, under the same guise that Keys was, like thinking it's dead, but at this point for her, it's the only claim to hope she has.
Also, to be honest, I would have liked if what's her name, Millie had actually shown that she was like a, like some sort of savant computer, programmer, because all she does is game in the movie. And it's like, okay, but if you know, like if you're like a really incredible programmer, wouldn't you have like some mods? You know, like wouldn't you be able to mod out the game a little bit? Or I mean, it would just been nice to see like she was actually a proficient programmer instead of just being told that she was because she was a badass in the video game.
Again, these like they half-assed all of those like technical ideas.
Yeah.
Because I think the one line they gave her was like, "Oh, she spoofed her account. We can't like ban her." It's like that's not how that works.
She put call block on her.
Right, and I was like, what does that even mean when he said that it's spoofed account? And I was like, spoofed? That so it's fake? And how is she able to make it make sense?
Still in you can still delete the spoofed account. And guess what?
There,
Right.
What are you talking about?
Yeah.
That would just mean that other users couldn't do certain things against her, but you, the creator, sir, just highlight delete. Guess who's not a programmer and knows that that's all you had to do?
It's not a program. It's just running a game.
Yeah. It's just knowing how to use a computer.
yeah, pretty much. But so yeah, once they get into it, they start to realize that their code, the code that Millie and Keys made years ago, which again, Keys working for the big bad guy, or I don't even know if you would call him the big bad guy at this point, but the idiot that named Antoine. They find out that their code is really the base for why Free City works. My question on that was weird. It was weird that if Free City or the original only works because of their original coding, and updating it to Free City 2 would delete their code, I'm not understanding how Free City 2 was going to work anyway.
I think it was just like they built a new game completely. They probably just like stole the code from the previous game, but now they're repackaging it and it won't be associated with the original code. I don't know. It's all what is the phrase? It's all Greek to me. Like, I have no fucking clue.
Yeah, no. The way the movie, I think, sucks, it was like they're building their own game from scratch, which means the AI would be bad. But because like in order for them to steal this code, they also had to steal the entire build, which means they stole all the geometry, everything that the game world is made of, which has nothing to do with the AI.
Nothing.
So at least they stepped it up if they're just still in the code now. But that gets really like shaken. Their whole justification is just like, yeah, the second one has a bunch of bugs. Everybody hates it. So that's how you know it's worse than the first one.
Right, yeah. Because you didn't have you didn't have the cool non-sellout code, in it or whatever. I don't know.
And I think the craziest thing about that, from someone who plays video games, not a coder, but at least I play them, right? Is I know two games I can name right now that actually no, I'll say it that way. Every single sports game pretty much runs off the exact same engine for about 10 to 15 years before they give you a new a physics engine.
Mm-hmm.
So you're running off that exact same engine for that long, and it's never not gonna have bugs the next year.
When a Toyota, what's it called? Toyota 4Runner. Mm-hmm. It's just a Corolla chassis. It's like, yeah. If you got good bones, you don't mess with that.
Exactly.
You just build on the bone.
That's it. So yeah, it's like if it works, it works. That was weird to me. If somebody who, I don't know how to build a video game, but I know how to play them, and that part just wasn't.
Again, if I wanted to do mental gymnastics for the story, which it really doesn't deserve, I would assume that the original game, Free City, was built off of Free World, which was their game. And since it was economical, Tsunami just built Free City on top of the code that existed for Free World. And now that they've made money, they're revamping and sort of recreating the game with probably just the pirated code, but it's not, watermarked as theirs. I don't know.
So you're telling me, so their budget was $100 to $125 million.
Yeah.
You couldn't hire, you work with VFX people. You could have just talked to some of them who I'm sure those animators had experience
Oh,
At
yeah.
least animating a game. A little bit of scripting. Maybe get away with a little bit of like Mel and Maya. They could
Had a friend you could
fix
call.
here and there.
And
They could at least point at you in the right direction.
No. No,
At
you
this
can't
rate,
do that.
it's 2022. You probably could have grabbed a couple of teenagers out of your local high school and
Yeah,
got
maybe.
some
Yeah.
Right. Totally.
So
yeah. So the movie definitely falls apart around that kind of stuff.
Right. Oh, actually, before we move any further, I must say this, and I have to say it somewhere in the middle because I don't want it to be all the way at the end or all the way at the beginning. I'm just gonna say it now. I sang Mariah Carey.
Well, good night, everybody. We'll catch you next week.
Yeah,
Yep. Peace.
it's terrible. And I like the slow version better.
Okay.
That's it. All right.
I mean, some of the songs
Sure.
were catchy. I mean, they're catchy pop
It's
songs.
the same song the whole time. But
Well, they did the Humpty Hump too.
no, you're right. I think I heard like
Yeah.
6 songs in total, but
Mhm.
they played Fantasy easily like 10 times.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Like Mariah got paid. Mariah got paid.
big time.
But so yeah, once he finds out he isn't real, he goes on this whole tirade. What I didn't expect was for him to find out he was fake after he'd already went through. He saved her a couple of times before he found everything. After he's thinking he's just this guy who's figuring things out in life. I didn't expect him to find out he was fake and then kind of rally everybody. That was kind of a cool turnaround.
Well, he goes nihilistic for a very short period of
Yeah,
time.
like all of 2
Yeah.
minutes and 30 seconds.
Yeah,
That's part of the movie.
yeah.
That's
Just yelling at everybody.
Yeah.
We're not real. All right.
Still says hi to the cop. He says hi to every
I
morning.
think gets hit by 2 cars. Hi, Officer Johnny.
Hey guy.
Hey man, might as well just go back to your normal routine when everything turns upside down. You just go back to what works.
Go back to that loop.
Mm-hmm. But you gotta break out of it eventually, man. So after that, everything gets pretty interesting with the destruction of. Now we have Millie. She's seen the file. She knows it exists. Now they know the files, or she knows that Guy knows how to get to the files, or he knows how to get to their world. I thought that was actually pretty cool. The way that he remembered why he knows what that place is, or why he knows what that vision is, that he's seen that. And they were able to I turned the curtains and
Yeah, it
like,
wasn't scrubbed from the reflection.
Which
I don't know how. Anyways,
right now, here's the weird thing. That actually kind of made sense.
Sure. I mean, I would suppose that the reflection off of a blind would be a different set of code than the outside. I don't know, man.
Well, it's just you have an object.
I am out of my depth with that bullshit. So.
Well, right. I think so. I can't remember how I even know this, but it's essentially, maybe it's picture stuff, but there's an item there. You might blank it out so somebody can't see it, but if there's anything that reflects it, you're going to have to also change that. If you don't, then you can still kind of see it. It just doesn't make sense. But I thought that was interesting because this was me. Somebody uses Photoshop. That's it. That's all. That's the depth of that.
Those are some static reflections. No, another question is just like if it reflects off the blinds, why doesn't it reflect off of everything?
Off the glass everywhere, and yeah.
Is it just they turned off they made it invisible, they hid it, but they forgot to turn off reflections on the blinds?
This one particular place, 2 particular things.
'Cause
That part
now
I can't really say, but I thought it was a cool idea. Now how they did it.
Yeah, now it's starting to sound like some like bad engine design, some bad bones now. Like the 2 original programmers weren't as good. But when they did that, I was like, it was kind of cheeky. I was like, oh, okay, that you can work with that, sure.
You agree that they used Photoshop in the past?
At least once.
Oh man. So yeah, so from there, I mean, I don't know. Everybody starts to rethink the NPCs, and Guy is in the lobby when they try to wipe everything, but then he walks out and he still gets wiped with everything else. I actually thought he was going to survive that, but he needed what we call that, Cinderella's kiss, Snow White's kiss. Which of those princesses need to be kissed to wake up?
Sleeping Beauty.
Sleeping Beauty. So he got
Snow
his
White.
Sleeping Beauty's kiss. I think all of
Both
them
of
at
them.
this point. Yeah. Fiona had to be kissed to turn out either into a human or an ogre.
Mm.
Favorite princess? Well, I guess I don't know. Anyway, Guy decides he's gonna change everything and he's gonna save the world and he's gonna make sure that Millie and them get their files. But the only reason he's doing that is because in reality, that's what's gonna keep him from being deleted. Um, but then he gave up everything to me. And am I the only one that feels that way? Like you gave up all the superness of being able, like, what part of his character is gonna grow now?
At the end.
Where do they upgrade? Where does the upgrade now?
No, he's just happy now. It's Utopia.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, dude beat the living snot out of him. Now they're friends. I shot
Climbing hierarchies is a capitalist idea, and we absolve ourselves from any sort of competition.
And like, how come nobody fixed Duke's code? Are you kidding me? You couldn't write some code? You just gonna leave him like that?
Mm-hmm. They like him that way. He's less dangerous. You like that, right? He's less dangerous. Not able to think on his own.
I did like the walking on air though. When the dude puts on glasses, he starts to run away. Yeah. And the walking on air comes on. I thought that was pretty funny.
I mean, hey, look, if it's anything that I do like about this movie, it's the concept of changing your lens, changing the way you look at things and the way you see things. Essentially changes your lifestyle and your life goal and your life trajectory. Possibly, because you could change those lenses into a worse situation. But I think that's really the if you wanted to have a give and take for today in this movie, it's changed the way you see things. However, long term, yeah, I'm not sure how this movie is going to be seen in 15 years, honestly.
Yeah, I do like that notion though too, like you're saying, like breaking out of the loop, changing yourself through the changing of the lens. That stuff is cool. But it kind of gets all muddled down in all this flash and all this noise. It sort of like,
meh. Yeah, and again, I agree though that the whole love, romance, comedy, not so much the bad part. Comedy's not the bad part. I don't even think the romance is the bad part, but trying to make them synonymous. Like, I don't think the love triangle was necessary. It was really weird at the end, the way that played out. But I mean, yeah, just use Ryan Reynolds' charm to kind of swoon that over.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it wasn't. I don't know. It wasn't. The only reason it wasn't, I guess, necessary was for the payoff of the two actually getting together at the end, right? Because the only reason that Guy likes her is because it's written in his code to like her, and it's a reflection of his feelings for her. But
right,
come on,
which he continued to say. So again, I understand how that came full circle, but it's still cliche.
Oh, it's totally cliche, and it really kind of it kind of weirds up the tone a little bit of the movie for sure.
There's not a lot of other super cliche moments in this movie.
I don't need your last scene, or the last scene in the real world of them like running to meet each other in the middle of the street,
right?
Why are
and like
you
standing and looking at each other for like a minute?
Yeah, and then like what? Like we start making out in the middle of the street, you're gonna get ran over.
Yeah,
did you see how much traffic?
Can I say I thought the same thing? I was like, all right, so what's gonna happen is somebody's gonna step off the curb, somebody's gonna get hit, and then we're gonna have the next scene in the hospital, and that's when they confess they love to each other.
No, you realize that Free Guy was actually a game within a game.
Yeah,
they're in a game as well. Oh, that would have been cool.
That's how you go World on a Wire sort of thing. That's how you go to the series of them trying to escape the game.
Right.
That would have been crazy. There's a show called The Hollow that's kind of like that. That's whoa. Yeah, that's pretty cool. That's a good idea right there. Turn that into a real life movie, guys. The Hollow, Netflix show. So yeah, after that again, we've already covered how it ends. It ends. Well, actually, we didn't cover the exact end. Antoine goes on a rampage with an axe, destroying the servers because he doesn't want anybody to find out that he used the code from Free World. And to me, that was just kind of dumb
Yeah, you
because
just like destroyed. I don't know how much money. That was a lot of money worth
I
of
don't, I don't,
servers.
I don't care how much money you have. I mean, unless, yeah, I don't know.
That would have been
I don't
great
know.
if he starts to get phone calls from his investors. The investors are
Yeah,
just like, so I saw that everybody disconnected from this game that
Right.
everybody in the world is playing and watching on like Times Square and like capitals all around the world.
yeah.
So can you tell
What's
me what
going
you're
on?
doing with my money right now? What's happening over there?
Right.
Oh, nothing.
I
Just
think the
taking an
first two
axe
shut.
to a
Yeah,
server room.
I think the first two reboots would have made everybody like, "Yo, what's going on?"
Yeah. And if you're that scared, why don't you just have like a kill switch? Just cut
That's
off the
what I
power
was
to the
thinking.
building.
There
Like,
has
cut
to
off.
be a kill switch of some sort. And that's all you do. You wouldn't destroy the servers. Like, are you kidding me?
Yeah. And
Well,
like
But it's a
yeah.
movie, so you can
they
be.
could have shut down the servers, saying that the servers now shut down because the second wing's releasing in a day. So we're gonna prep you in, and we have to start. You could lie too. So we have to start migrating the data over to the new servers,
There you
and
go.
there you go. You're done.
Yep.
I lied.
No, but he had to be an over-the-top supervillain. Just start
Not a
hacking
supervillain. He's
at
just a villain.
server.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was cartoonish, definitely.
Yeah. Which, and again, I think they found the right person for that. I love the trying to do the pop-up move and failing, standing up and then jumping up like, yeah, I did it. And like, no, you didn't. No, you didn't. But yeah, so again, he doesn't get arrested, but Millie comes, they agree, oh, he's not going to destroy the last server so they can take it and create their own thing. His level of naivety towards what sells and what doesn't was a little unbelievable to me. Like he might see it as all numbers, but he in that position in this day and age, you definitely know how perception sways your numbers and sways your income. So that was a little what was the word you used earlier, Mike? Dated. That was a little dated to me. Like that seemed more like a early 2000s movie type of a situation. The way he kind of got that little deal. It was like, no, I would never just give you the likeness to the thing that blew this company up. And that just went national, worldwide. Like, no, I'm going to keep this. And if they don't want to buy it from me, then they're not going to get it. I'm not even going to destroy it. If they don't want it from me, they're not going to get it. It's that simple. Oh, okay. Oh, I could prove you have it. Can you? I mean, you can prove that you had it up on those TVs, but I can also prove that I just fired the guy who helped you create it.
And it's just a lawsuit. Like, yeah, like because devs, there's a YouTube series called Dirty Devs, and it's about game developers who could be real shady. Like they'll it's common practice just to buy something off of the there's like asset stores and code stores you could buy prepackaged things, and then just put them in your game and then upsell them, right? And so this is like one of the things where it's like it's just a lawsuit. Yeah, you're gonna have to have some bad PR, but you can handle the lawsuit fine, quietly, without TVs. You know that because like part of this movie even goes into talking about lawsuits for some reason. But yeah, you can handle that lawsuit without going on TV, and it's fine. And oh, you did something shady. You can play dumb. You can. There's so many PR ways to work around that situation, other than the deal that he made.
You know what he could have did? I'm sorry.
No, bad guy. He's bad guy.
He's bad guy. Oh yeah, sorry. All right. Then I'll be sorry for suggesting that.
Yeah, you don't make peace with the bad guys.
That would have been great though. Like that's your final sequence. Is like Free City 2 comes out and he's just like, I'm sorry. I know I stole their code, but I'm sorry. Ooh, this one's different.
Definitely. I think though, some moments for comedy were definitely missed because they were focused on some different things at the end of the movie that was a little obvious. But overall, I mean, we have an opinion about it. What do we think in our final reviews, fellas? Or is there any other things before we hit final reviews you guys want to go over and think of? Me neither.
Nah.
It's better than Pixels.
That it is. That
I
I
actually
will
agree
give
with
it
that.
that. Yeah,
Yeah.
it is. I'll just give mine right off the top because why not?
Hey, wait, clear your throat again.
Um, normally I'm, but yeah. All right. I'm going to. I enjoyed this movie. I think it was fine. It's dumb. It's geared towards kids too. So
Sure.
like I enjoyed some of the comedic beats. I think Ryan Reynolds is good enough on screen to kind of capture your attention too.
Mhm.
I mean, like this story's nothing you haven't seen before. There's many movies that it's kind of taking from, but overall, it's not nearly as bad as some of the movies that we've seen. But it's not great. So I'm thinking this is like a middle of the road. I'm gonna give it a 5.5. I think it's
Very
just
nice.
kind of it is what it is. It's not gonna knock your socks off, but you probably won't be too offended by it.
Mhm.
It's very middle of the road.
Nice.
Yeah.
Very nice. Let me find my distinguished clear.
Mm-hmm.
So, as I move forward, I'm giving this a 9. No I'm joking.
Yeah, right.
I mean, don't get me wrong. This actually had a lot of up like some of my notes I was keeping up with, like that I kept. One of the things I mentioned was feeling good is an emotion. And I noticed that's something that we like to keep track of what emotions are drawn out of us through some of these movies because that does affect our score. But there were a lot of feel good moments to this movie, and that is an emotion.
Mm-hmm.
Was there any tearing up or nah? It's mostly laughs. But
Bubblegum.
overall, sorry.
It's bubblegum. It's saccharin. It's like
Ah,
it's that sort of thing that is manufactured in sweet. Like
mhm.
you know that you're expecting sweet, you know.
I like that bubblegum ice cream deal.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And that's why you said when you said bubblegum, that's what I thought. I was
Mm-hmm.
like, why is he talking about the ice cream right now?
Yeah.
Uh, so geez, I think I'm getting taller by the week, guys. I apologize. So I overall about this movie from the beginning of it, I did enjoy it all the way to the end. I can't think of any like, oh, I just didn't enjoy seeing that. But there were a lot of things that could have been better. There were some things that could have had more continuity. But then again, that is what I sit down and do. I sit down and I critique the worst parts of the movie, and sometimes I have to watch it twice to catch the better parts of it, right? So overall, I don't think there's much more I can say or even explain about this movie. So from there, I am giving this a 7, and I am giving this a 7 out of whole generosity, but honestly, because I didn't expect it to even be as good as it was. I expected it to be a lot worse, and I think that surprise factor is going to get it a 6.5. Did I give it a 7? 6.5.
Okay, so you're giving it a 6.5?
I'm going 6.5.
Okay. You got it.
Again, some of this is out of generosity. I really enjoyed this movie, and
He's gonna talk himself down to a 0.
I'm not changing my score anymore. I'm
I'm just gonna be quiet. I'm just
Yeah.
gonna
I'm not changing my score
just
anymore.
just
It's okay. We're
watching.
just silently judging you, Keelan. That's
always, always. Hey, listen, I give it a 9, damn it. But
yeah.
no, I did think it was a good movie. I did enjoy it from the beginning to end. My major issues with it is I don't think it was made for me, and because of that, uh, I'm sure there's a lot I'm missing. A lot that just I'm like, why would you do that? And then for other people or for the people it's made for, it's like, yo, I'm glad they did it that way. For instance, the YouTuber situation, I really had no
We're
clue what was
old.
going on there. Clearly,
We're old.
I'm
This is for
starting to really
kids.
understand this.
Yeah.
I'm really starting to understand this. And I had no clue Ryan Reynolds was for the kids. Also, he must have an amazing Marvel contract or Disney contract.
Fox.
Oh, he has a Fox contract.
Mm-hmm.
That's why he's able to use everything. That's genius. It's all about who you're contracted with, isn't it?
Yeah.
So yes, overall, this is a 6.5 for me. I did enjoy it. It drew emotions out of me. Those emotions were feel good. I sang Mariah Carey. I bit my tongue. And that's it.
Are you sure? You got everything out? You're done?
I said it twice. I said I wasn't gonna say it again. I bit my tongue as soon as I said it.
It's a movie. You can watch it. It's on Blu-ray and HBO Max.
Yes. These
4
are all
out of 10.
facts.
4 out of 10 for me. I would give it a 3, but the Chris Evans cameo, I gets 1 point.
The Chris Evans cameo gets a point. So that brings it to a 2 for you.
Which leaves us, I believe, here at a 5.3.
It's not bad.
5.3.
Should be at 5 even. Might be 0.3 points too high. I'm not changing my score though.
No, that's good. Don't worry about it. All right.
So yeah, sounds good. We appreciate you guys for hanging out here with us on the Screen Time Continuum. Please come on back. Check us out Wednesdays and Sundays. As always, we'll be here to give you something spicy and new. Tell you how much we enjoyed a movie, tell you how much we hated a movie, destroy your feelings, and or build them up. Maybe you'll get confidence to tell somebody the truth one day, and we do it every week. We appreciate you guys for coming here. By all means, head over to the Thinkering Talks page where you can find all of our podcasts. We have the Exo Fathom that comes on Monday at 8 p.m. with Mike, Nick, and Ayla. You have If Numbers Could Talk comes on Tuesdays. That is me right there. Tuesdays at 8:30. And you have Strawberries and Coffee. I was going to say Screen Time and Coffee. That's funny. Maybe we'll do that in a collab episode one day. But you can check out Strawberries and Coffee over on Twitch. Strawberries and Coffee is also available on YouTube. Dijon goes live, plays games, and shows you some of the new tutorials and or new walkthroughs as he's playing a game. On Tuesday and Thursday nights, he also goes live impromptu, just randomly. So you definitely want to hit that subscribe and that notification bell so you can catch him when he jumps on. By all means, come right back over here to Screen Time Continuum. After you check out all of those other shows I just named, also go to some of your other platforms, type in those names, any platforms that you use. I don't know what's in your phone. I don't know what's on your computer, on your what are some of the other devices they have, your Oculus and all of those good things, right? But
you could watch this on the Oculus. That'd be pretty cool.
Right. We would definitely appreciate it. By all means, check out all of the apps, everything you use to listen to and or watch podcasts and different shows. Type our shows in and hit subscribe, hit follow, like it, share it. We appreciate you. For the Screen Time Continuum, I'm Keelan.
I'm Nick.
And I'm Headphones.
We appreciate you guys, and we'll see you on Wednesday.
Good night. Free guy. More like not free guy. Am I right?